or future Punx. Of anything too extreme, you know, we like to just try and get people dancing, and I mean, I remember when we played Austin the first time, we had a shirtless dude from the moment we started. Yeah, it's not that wild, really.
There was a show in Berlin where people they were dancing so hard that they fell on the floor, and I think they were on like some hard drugs, and they kept dancing like on the floor, just like.
That was awesome.
Yeah, they were
I'm like playing drums,
like, drugs in Berlin,
and they were like
somebody
sort of like
person up. Like,
there was a guy like just like holding the monitor, just kind of
just like like vibing out on it.
That was a fun night. But that kind of reminds me also of our Def Club experience, which I wouldn't call wild so much, but it was definitely a unique experience, and where we were part of a movie shoot that was recreating a club that was a social club for deaf people where they threw punk shows back in the early 80s in California, and we were part of this scene where they were recreating that in a movie and had a bunch of deaf people out for this shoot, and some of the deaf people were really responding to our music very strongly, and up front they were like holding on to the speakers and monitors and stuff, just feeling it really powerfully, and that was a very unique live experience. Yeah, not necessarily wild, but wild in another way, you know.
And then just a couple weeks ago, they had like the lady who made the film. She was showing it, like, I guess for a few weeks, but the ending reception for it, they had bands play. So we played, and they had a American Sign Language interpreter, so we had to like submit our lyrics and everything, and so while we played, he was on stage like interpreting the lyrics and everything, and yeah, that was awesome. It was just the coolest thing. Like, we've ended up in all sorts of like weird, cool things like that. Yeah, Dull Tools, it's myself and my roommate Andrew. We used to play in Teenage Cool Kids together, and that was the first release we did, and then he's in Parquet Courts. Our second release was Light Up Gold, and then that obviously did really well. That was like, oh, looks like we can put out more records. So like that was just all in the last 3 years. We're on our like 15th release now, and Heather does PR for us, so it's pretty much just a 3-person operation. Yeah, it's run out of my apartment in Bedside. You want to take this one, Jake?
Sure. Yeah, postwave. You know, it's our genre that we sort of made up for ourselves at first. Chris came up with the term, and we kind of ran with it. It's become much more than a genre to us. It obviously indicates a combination of post-punk and new wave, which is kind of the spark which started the whole project. We all bonded over our mutual love of those genres, but it's come to also indicate something new and sort of a whole point of view, a state of being that we approach the whole project from, which indicates just an ultimate openness to incorporating anything that will help us turn people on through our art and through our music, which sounds kind of vague, but basically means, you know, we recognize that we're at a point in history where anything is available to anyone, and
well, in America, I guess.
Sure. Well,
and even that,
you know, we're privileged enough to have all this information, all this music, and you know, anything we want is available to us. So why wouldn't we explore all that's out there and pull what seems good and try and mush it together and put it back out there as something new, to try and keep the ball rolling, basically. And yeah, that's more or less in a nutshell what postwave is. I mean, it's meant to be so open that it's almost impossible to define in a way. So it's fun to talk about to me because I can just kind of like, you know, want to keep going. But yeah, it's really been an inspiring concept for us. That's why we, you know, named the album This Is Postwave, because we wanted to like put it up front as what we're about, but also leave some room for interpretation, because that's what it's all about too. We're interpreting everything that inspires us and putting it back out there, and hopefully inspiring other people to do the same. And it becomes this wonderful back and forth, in and out, which is what creation's all about. It's very, very important to us, I think. It's not too common to see bands on our level, I think, putting in that much effort, but it really goes a long way, even if you just have one light on stage, making a moment happen. Like, it really can affect the audience's experience and help bring the band and the audience together in a new way, I think. And so for us, we wanted to go all out on that if we could from the get-go, and we really did. I'm kind of proud of us. Since the first show, we've had, lights and outfits or whatever, something to help make our performance more than just us getting up and
stage,
playing our music,
see you later,
Which, there's tons of great bands that do just that, and it can be wonderful too, Great music can come across without lights and spectacle, of course, but I find that if you do try to create that experience, it just draws everyone together, basically, including from the band's point of view. It's helps you kind of step outside of yourself and give the best performance possible.
Yeah, when you have that full atmosphere around you, it just really helps intensify everything that you're doing in your performance. And I think it's also a great icebreaker, especially with shows these days. I feel like it's really hard to get people to dance sometimes. So if you create an environment that's comfortable and fun by adding those elements in, it really helps everyone just have the best experience.
Vote for Bernie Sanders. Please.
Before you dance or listen to music or anything, do that first.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, get engaged in politics. It's not dorky and weird. It's actually super important and affects people across the planet.
And it's not just about Bernie either. Yeah,
It
just
has
get
nothing,
interested in
very little to do with Bernie, actually. He just happens to be the brave person that put a face to what needed to be done. But yeah, just get into shit.
The face you see, looking at you behind the screen.